All right, really quickly. This is my Year 10 yearbook. I am not Justin Pascoe. I've showed you my school photos. So the descriptions that people have made up. Sorry, people. Losers of social workers. Oh my god, you guys brought up in a poor environment. No, wait, they probably were housewives. Oh, sorry, low socioeconomic upbringing, public school system. I gotcha. Public school system people. Oh, public system people. Oh, well. So, this is, so all the friends I had in school wrote messages when I was leaving. Now, you'll read these messages and you'll see that they knew I was moving back home to Sydney. They've said, keep in touch or I'll cry. Hopefully I'll see you on the big screen. Ainsley Bartlett, hey Justin, have fun at TAFE, because she knew I was studying at TAFE College in Newcastle. And I'll see you on the big screen one day. Sorry, I did try to get back into my acting for film and television after 2016, but New South Wales Police thought that my method acting was real. Yeah. So I did. So I actually got a new agent. So Ainsley Bartlett, I was doing really well in acting for film and television before I was mugged and robbed after work, November 30th, 2007. And I was doing a lot of extra work and I got little small parts and I got a role with this sort of like low budget film that was going to go to a bigger production. And then I got mugged after work. So I was studying at Screenwise, acting for film and television with Denise Roberts. Everything was going great. Then November 30th, 2007 got mugged. So then when I was like, okay, I'm going to get back into everything that I loved doing before I was mugged. And when I tried to, I literally had mental health working losers, thought it was real. I'm like, I'm acting. And in my own apartment in 2017, rehearsing scripts. And I did play a prank on Mark Hanna, of course, but that was one of the scripts that I had from Screenwise, like the one about losing everything. Yeah, so I did join with a new extras agent. Well, actually, not an extra, a new agent in 2016, and thought, perfect. So I'm going to auditions and castings, but I was getting followed around by the biggest deadbeat losers of people that thought when they were watching me rehearse lines, oh, he's walking around the bedroom talking to himself. I'm in the mirror. My God. We were even taught this in 2006 at Screenwise to go through the script and go through different emotions in front of the mirror so you can see your acting, how you do. So because when you go for a cold read, you don't know what you're going to get. So you might have to read a script this way, or you might have to do it happy or angry and so forth. So I'm doing it in front of the mirror. Next minute, I've got losers thinking, oh, because he's been in this all day in front of the mirror. I'm like, that's called rehearsal. And wait a minute, what are you doing looking into my bedroom? Because that's a criminal offence that carries a jail sentence. Was I naked? Because if I was naked, then that's a longer jail sentence of up to 7 years. You know, it's a criminal offence, it's a jailable offence. I don't have to have curtains. Here's the law. I don't have to have curtains. I can sit in the floor windows like a fishbowl. And I can walk around my apartment naked and you cannot legally look in. How about that, you scrawny little dumb cunts? Oh, I'm sorry. So you learn this if you are not brought up in the public sector. Oh, that must have been hard for you losers. How was public school? I don't know. I've got cousins that went to public school. You can really tell. Yeah, they behave like you deadbeats. And they've got social jobs. Social support working people in public school sectors. Oh, jeez. Did you guys get chicken pops and things like that because you're in the public school system? Wait, do you guys have uniforms? You just don't, do you? Because you're public school. You're dragged up. You don't have any sort of conformity. No, you get knits and shit like this, don't you? Because you're public school people. Oh, losers. So, where's Jacinta Graham? There we go. Jacinta Graham. Now, Jacinta Graham said I did a great job in Joseph. She did a great job with the Sympathy Orchestra. I think she joined the military. Jacinta Graham you were fabulous stuff. I loved it. Absolutely amazing that in the orchestra. So there's Amanda, you'll see. So it's all here. There you go, like there, this side. Shane Hart's over here. So Shane Hart lived in Palamore. Huddy. There we go. Yeah. Okay. So everyone that I was friends with in high school, I mean, we all start out in high school. And like when I was studying in high school, you know, the whole thing. So Uncle Richard Mihowski goes, make sure you bring your snorkels and your snorkels and your goggles. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, because everyone gets bullied, like, you know, like all the freshmen, you know, by the seniors. Now all this stuff's considered like even hazing's considered bad. Oh my God. It's like the world grew up and they're all Amandas. You know, oversensitive, taking everything too seriously and not seeing the lightheartedness of life. You know, okay, you're bullied, but okay. You say things affect me, and I'm saying, but it doesn't. You seem to remember it, and I do. Like, even Christy Childs goes, oh, when this happened, I'm like, that was a million years ago. That seemed to affect you more than affected me. So, or is it affecting you because the government's rolled out some money of trauma? So if you say what you've witnessed is traumatic to you, you get money. This is all about money. Oh, let's make no mistake, this is about fraud. The leftist government's rolled out money towards trauma, and every person is jumping onto it. I've seen this, I've had this happen, I'm gonna lie. I'm sure every immigrant's jumping onto it too. Okay, that's what happens when you live in a country like Australia, unlike America, which no one get away with like that in America. Wouldn't wash. I prefer America to Australia. I see Australia as a corrupt criminal country. America has conformity, has a decent legal system that would never do it. Has, you know, you've got your constitutional rights and laws. And yeah, you would be like, oh, suck it up, buttercup. You've got trauma, deal with it. So, that's there. You know, like real trauma is being in a coma. Not, I witnessed a person get bashed and that's traumatized me. Oh, you're not the person that got bashed. Okay? The person that got bashed is the person that's traumatized. You're just looking for attention, which it's like the Carols of the world. You know, it's like it's like, sorry, you're mentally retarded, sweetheart. Nothing happened to you. You saw it. Okay? This is getting ridiculous. When do we start pulling it back in? Because trauma should only be the person who's been inflicted by trauma, which means it should be physical. Stop doing this mental shit. It should be physical. You know? It should be an actual physical violence of traumatic. You know, like a hit to the head. You know, that's trauma. Not, but I saw it and it traumatized me. Ugh, fuck off. Oh, God, I can't stand some people. Anyway, I've already put these up on social media. So you can have a good read because they're there. And then I'm going to show something. Because French. Okay, we have to keep going around in circles with this, you know. Because people can't be told once or twice or 1,000,000 times. Okay. Here is the entire curriculum. It's also there on social media. When you started Our Lady Rosary College in 1992, year 7, you had to do the entire curriculum in 1992. In 1992 and 1993. But so that's year 7 and year 8. Before you chose your electives, your majors for year 9s and 10. So French, I studied in 1992 and 1993. My French teacher, let's go back, where is she? Somewhere around here. Right here. Back, stop licking your paw, please, mister. You're behaving like a window licker. I have to start calling you Robin Childs. Okay, Miss Davies. She was a music teacher and a French teacher. That was my French teacher who I had. She was lovely. And yes, she dressed very posh with the scarves and so forth. I went to a private school. My art teacher, Judy Borg, drove the most fabulous, that Mercedes-Benz that we still chill out in. So, yeah. Okay, I went to a private school. Okay, it was great. I actually wore the royal blue is the colour of our school uniform. It was royal blue and maroon, and I had the royal blue tennis jumper with the maroon sort of, you know, like the around the V. And I wish I still had it because I would wear it. It was fucking stunning. Because you had to have the jumper or, let me show the blazer. And I'm like, oh, I'm not wearing the blazer. Because the blazer looked so girly. Where is someone? Oh, they've all got it for the photos. No, okay. So the blazers. That was the maroon blazer. There'll be a photo somewhere of it. Anyway. Oh, this is Mrs. Inwood. I had her for textiles and design. Mrs. Inwood's son lived up the road from my mother, Mr. Inwood, and his wife, Mrs. Inwood. Yeah, posh family. All right. So I used to go horse riding with Mr. Inwood. Now, this is Miss Davis. She's a French and music teacher. She was my French teacher. And Miss Cray which is down here, was a bit, here she is, Miss Cray. She was my music teacher, but she's also French and music. So there's Miss Cray. That was my music teacher. So, let's just stick to the facts, shall we? While you guys are, you know, using false information about me for your scam. Oh, there's Sean Mason. Hey, Shani. My only issues with the bullshit in the last was the bullshit in the last 11 years since 2015. Thanks. Okay. Where are we? So if there was any stuff that went like on, tell me. Pinpoint the person. Say that person bullied you. I witnessed it. I'm like, okay. Obviously, it didn't affect me that much if I don't remember it. Because we can't be friends with everybody in life. This whole thing of, you know, it doesn't work because everyone's different. We have like-minded people. And sometimes bullying ends up becoming an endearment. And a great example, okay, here's a good example. Okay, Sam Page. Sam Page, wasn't he about a year or two older than me? Sam Page, who ended up working at the barracks in Newcastle when I was studying in Newcastle. And then he moved from Newcastle with his boyfriend, another Mark. And he went from Newcastle to Canberra. Someone else that moved to Canberra. So I went from Tamworth to Newcastle to Canberra. Sam Page used to tease me when I was like in year 7. Okay. Then when I was in year 9 and 10, I dated Sam Page. Well, nothing sexual. Who makes it like we went out for coffee dates. In year 10, I was doing a acting workshop with Kathy Lee, who was a producer, and that was over in the theatre. It wasn't at the Retreat Theatre, but it was nearby. It was in another auditorium. I think it might have been in one of the auditoriums that was near the old Workers Club. And Sam Page, who was then in year 11 or 12, might have been in year 11, came to see me. There you go. So, Sam Page, that's right. But that was endearment. He was older, he teased me. And then we started meeting up and courting, dating. In actual fact, in 1995, we went and saw at the cinema and we had to leave because the film broke or something. It was Father of the Bride 2. There you go. It was Father of the Bride 2. And we're walking back, yeah. So that was 1995. So how was it? Yeah. So, yeah, I've always been gay. I've always dated guys. Actually, Sam Page was, yeah, blonde hair, blue eyes. Gorgeous. I had a thing for blondes and blue eyes because I was always dark and I was never blonde hair and blue eyes as I got older. Even if I put foils through my hair to make it blonde or wore blue contacts, I still wasn't blonde hair or blue eyes. Or the guys that had strawberry blonde hair, like reddish or reddish beards and white skin. I just loved guys with white skin because my skin used to go so dark. So I really loved guys that had white skin. So that sort of blows all the theories that everybody had out. As I got older, I stuck with my like-minded type because, you know, and the same as Dad's side, they're all with ethnics. So it's like-minded to us. They're all the ethnics. But when I was younger, my interest was always, it wasn't. It was white skin, milky white skin, blonde hair, blue eyes, green eyes, reddish, like, you know, strawberry blonde. That was my type. That was my type. And the like white skin, because my skin was always dark. I was like Stanley Fleming. Always had dark skin. And it wouldn't take long. If I went out in the sun, my skin would just go dark really quickly. So I always liked the opposite. But then as I got older, I started being with what was like-minded to me, which is all ethnics. Because the same as Dad's side. You look at Dad's side, they're all with, you know, Europeans or Lebanese. It's the same. All my cousins on Dad's side, they're all mixed races because it's like we just all sort of, you know, then be with what's like-minded, which is Lebanese and Europeans and so forth. But that was my type. Anyway, this is the Belvoir Theatre in Surrey Hills in 1995. In this photo, you're going to see that's Shane Vincent. Okay. Don't know what it looks like now, but that is Shane Vincent. that person is right. That is me. So you can see how, you know, when I tie my hair back and it's like that. Although I'm very thin now compared to when it was thick when I was younger. I had beautiful hair when I was younger. That's me. That's me right there. Wearing designer labels I always did. That's me. Looking like a Leo. Right there. And we have Lauren Keegan, Amanda Young, Miss Gill, and down here, Jacinta Graham, Shane Vincent, Rochelle, Hope Willingham, Amanda Wynn. Up here, we were on the boat, so we went to the yacht. We took a yacht ride around Sydney Harbour. Like, Mum forgets all this. It's like, well, where was your sister? With you at a horse show. And what, you were just staying in King's Cross with your friends? Yes. You were told. Mum, like years later, it's like, I don't remember signing for that. I'm like, well, you did. I'm thinking, well, someone signed for it. But anyway, we all went. So all the group of friends that I had that were arty involved in the Sympathy Orchestra. So we went and we saw the Sympathy Orchestra. We went out all the art galleries, went to the theatre and so forth. Sure, Mum signed for it. Anyway, we were old enough. We were 16. So Mum was at a horse show anyway with Amanda. I was at home by myself. I could have had a house party. I didn't. So I went off and we're staying in King's Cross. And then we're going out. It was no big deal. Like, seriously. That's the beauty of being a private school kid. You get to have fun. So, the yacht that we took, there we go. That's myself, Hope Willingham, Rochelle. There's us there on the yacht. Okay, that's actually my shirt. That's not plaid. That's not plaid. I'll show you photos of it. That is, if anyone remembers, when one of the first jobs that Marc Jacobs had, he did this plaid print on these expensive silk garments for, who was it? What was the designer? He got sacked for it. Anyway, Mossy Mo took that design and put it out there in this. So it's like, I remember because when Mum's buying this, she goes, like, I'm not paying, like, it was even like $150 for this shirt at the time in the 90s. She goes, it's plaid. I'm not paying 100. I'm like, it's Mossy Mo. I was like, it's plaid. I'm like, it's Mossy Mo. It's not plaid, Mum. It's Mossy Mo. I was always big in designer labels. Anyway, so all my sort of entourage friends, like Hope's wearing it. Oh, I loved Hope. Oh, she was so. Oh, Hope was great. You know what? These people are great. When I got mugged after work and I didn't want to see people because I felt really, you know, upset about what had happened and so forth, and the loss of my, you know, my job on hold, Hope would message me and she'd be like, "Why don't you like?" Because Hope was doing something in the theatre. See, I adore Hope. If any of these people made a mistake, I can forgive them for making a mistake, because years have passed. But please don't affiliate me with my stepfather. And I'll tell you the reason why, guys, is because Mark Rackley, Mum's second husband, the deadbeat nurse, she divorced in 95. His son, Daniel Rackley, lived in Tamworth, and I'm getting tagged in with all their bad behaviour. So their criminal behaviour. So Mark and Daniel Rackley. So please don't. So I'll put it out there. So if you accidentally do it, which you shouldn't, because none of you guys did during high school. That's what. When I start hearing stuff and they go, Rackley, I'm like, okay, you weren't a friend of mine then, because no one ever called me that during high school. It's actually written down everywhere as Fleming. Like my actual correct last name. All my friends knew that Mum's second husband was our stepfather, and they hated him. Everyone hated my stepfather, and people who knew me knew my father was a builder. And see, in actual fact too, because my dad's building firm, he went to Tamworth in 1996 and he did the refurbishment of Grace Brothers in Peel Street. He built the extension of Farrell High School on O'Brien's Lane. In 95 to 96, he was doing Westfield's Tuggerah. So people knew this about my dad. People knew. And people have met my dad and what a lovely man he was. He's had health problems now too. We're all old, guys. So anyway, there's that photo. I've got other ones as well. Like I've got the originals. Oh, here's me being a Leah. My sports coat. There we am. Is that Lee's? My God. Okay, there I am. Oh, I'm hailing the cab. There we go. Where were we leaving? Because we went to DCM's that night too, and on Oxford Street. Okay, back when you're walking up Oxford Street and you had the drag place on the left-hand side. And on the right-hand side, I remember when, because up near the wall, all the prostitutes were. Okay, so all the gay prostitutes used to hang out on the wall back then. Because we were walking, because we're walking back up to King's Cross. And if you go further, so you go up Oxford Street, on the right-hand side, there was some bar. It was red, and it had these, like, gold plastic angels stuck to the ceiling in the 90s. Okay, I remember that. And I remember was it DCM's? We just go to the midnight shift. Anyway. And then there was... Amanda Wynn went into the King's Cross Hotel. No, it was Amanda Wynn. Who was with her? Because I remember this. It was Amanda Wynn because it was Amanda Wynn. Was Ainsley with her? And Amanda Young? Because didn't Amanda Wynn's father used to own King's Cross Hotel at one stage? Like, I know they weren't together because Amanda Wynn's mum lived in Greg Norman Drive and she didn't talk to her ex-husband. But didn't Amanda Wynn's father own King's Cross Hotel or something? Because you guys went in there and brought... Anyway... Okay, I'll shut up. Because, yeah, anyway, I'll shut up. And, yeah, because, yeah, we had all that fun on the way to the Belvoir Theatre in Surrey Hills. And then on the way back, when we stopped at Oxford Street and we walked back the long way past the wall, and there was all those guys hanging out. And we're walking back to King's Cross, where we're staying. Okay, that's that night. That's me. Let me... There. Look at it. That's me there. All right. So I'm going to try and keep this on a half an hour. God, we had so much fun. Oh, there's Beefy. There's Ainsley. Okay. That's, okay, Kirsty Meyer. Okay, and that's Ainsley Bartlett. There's Hiko. And that's Gemma Bartlett. Okay. Hiko, Gemma Bartlett, Amanda Young. Baxiano, it's hot. Oh my God, Tammy Gibson. Man, Tammy Gibson was like a stick. I tell you what, if I catch up with Tammy, what was it? Tammy Cruikshank, wasn't it? Wasn't it Cruikshank or something? And then changed to Gibson or something. Man. No, Conrick. No, who was Cruikshank? No, Tammy Conrick or something. And then went to Gibson or something, wasn't it? I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. But anyway, ran into Tammy at the Tamworth Arcade like years ago now. There's Luke. Okay, Leo McHugh. Okay, we caught up in 2007 at Seymour Centre listening to jazz in Newtown. Oh, there's Rachel McElveen. Remember when she was... Do you remember when poor Rachel... Remember, because, you know, when she was in hospital for bulimia? Was it bulimia or anorexia? It was one of them. But anyway. She was fabulous. I don't know why her parents worried. I mean, she was fabulously thin. She looked gorgeous. I mean, it was one of those schools, really, wasn't it? And I'm looking because there's actually a photo here of my Year 10 major. Love to find where the original is. And it's of the 5 paintings I did. So when I was studying Italian, so in 1995, when I started learning Italian as part of art, and then when I studied fine arts in Newcastle in 1996, and then learned Italian more because it's part of art, was to do with when I was studying Salvatore Dali. I studied Renaissance. Also, I had to learn how to stucco. Remember, because the painting here is done with stucco. So that's me. That's me, and there's my 5 artworks for the Year 10 major. So, yeah, so that's when I studied Italy. And that was in 1995. Yeah. So everything I've said checks out. Oh, by the way, in all of that, you're going to see, because some dickhead wrote Justin Fleming Rackley. I legal paper that years ago. I was like, fuck off, man. How many times do you lose that to be told? They never got it, did they? Okay, and Judy Ball. See here, look, my note to Judy Ball. Justin Fleming. Remember when she had the stroke? So, remember her Mercedes-Benz? It was like awesome. So, yes, guys, no, don't forget, yes, and if I walk past you because, you know, it's been 30 years, you don't recognise me and I don't recognise you, hey, I was there at that school for 4 years and moved back home to Sydney. I was only ever in Tamworth for 6 years and I moved back home to Sydney. It's been 30 years. If we don't know much about each other, 30 years have passed and I knew of you for 4 years. For 4 years. 4 years out of 30 years. But, I mean, we obviously had a lot of fun. And actually, 1 second, before, like, I've got 5 more minutes because I want to close this off at 30 minutes. So let me get the other photos to do with 1995. Okay, and then I've got to go to bed. Oh my God. I've had a throat infection for that long. It's driving me fucking nuts. So, my poor dog too. So, Baxi, stop. Oh. I know, cutie. Oh, where is it? Oh, I'm gonna sneeze in a minute. God, this is fucking driving me nuts. The music I was in. Oh, we went and saw Brett Whiteley. That's not the one. Okay, here we go. Yeah. We were in Surrey Hills at the Elephant Bar and Grill down on Devonshire and Crown Street. That was me who suggested that because we used to go here when we had the horses in Upmore Park. And it was. Okay. Now, there's Miss Gill, our art teacher, who's also Bradley Gill, the guy that played Joseph in the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. That's her, well, his sister. It's ways to get away with murder. There is Amanda Young, Rebecca Munro. I think that's Hope Willingham and Shane Vincent. Stop. There's Shane Vincent. Stop off. Let me get this. My dog. Right. Here. Lauren Keegan, Shane Vincent, Amanda Young. So we're at that pub there. Down the corner of, this is in 1995. Down the corner of Crown Street and Devonshire there in 1995. And then, of course, there's the Brett Whiteley exhibition we went to. And we went to Brett Whiteley's place where he had his art studio. Actually, where is that? That was fantastic. We did everything together. Here it is. These are the doors out the front of Brett Whiteley's art studio in Surrey Hills, right there. And run around the art galleries, the theatre. There's a photo. Should be a photo. There's a photo of all of us here outside the Opera House. When we went to the Sympathy Orchestra at the Opera House. But there should be one where it's just... Okay, basically you are dripping on the photo, sweetheart. There's one with Leo McHugh and Lauren Keegan and stuff. Anyway, here. And Tammy. There we go. Is that Lisa? Is that Lisa? That's Leo. Is that Lisa? That's Tammy and Lauren. So, yeah. Okay. So, have we sort of, got through all this bullshit now? Oh, by the way, again, okay. So, yeah. My shirt that Hope's wearing, love it, Hope. Looked great on you. I should have given it to you. That Mossy Mo shirt, Hope Willingham. You wore that. Like, the girls used to wear my clothes. So, Hope's wearing my shirt there. I should have given it to you. You looked fantastic in it. That's Amanda Wynne, Hope Willingham, Gemma Bartlett, Ainsley Bartlett, and Rochelle. That's there at Cockle Bay. There. We're out there. I should have given it to you. I mean, what was I going to do? I had so many shirts. I had so, fabulous clothes. You looked fantastic in it. She'll let you keep it. And here's us. Was it Trent Brown? Oh no, we used to call him Trent. Well, I used to call him Trent. Anyway, so there's me. I wear my other. Was that Massive? That was Massive. Remember the big, oversized, baseball shirts I used to wear? It had Massive written down it. This one. So that's me. We're on the boat. That's me. That's right. It's not Trent. His real name's not Trent. But we used to call him Trent. I think, wasn't Trent his real name? Anyway. That's Rochelle. Amanda Wynn. And Hope Willingham. Right, there's us. The gang. And that's me. Right there. So 90s. There we are. Around Sydney Harbour. On the yacht. In 1995. See, best days of my life spent with high school friends. So you can imagine my discomfort, or hey, let's use a word that these losers are using. Let's use the word trauma. You can imagine the trauma that these people have just caused for me in the last 11 years since 2015 by lying about my experience when I was briefly in Tamworth. And then lying about people saying I didn't like friends and so forth. I'm like, I had a lot of friends I hung around with and we had a lot of house parties. Actually, I've got any house parties here. Oh, here's me. Wait a sec. Here we go. Oh, Mum carries on with crap. You let me go to these parties, Mum. So I'm about 14 there. This is above the retreat theatre. This is in the green room. I had the biggest crush on this guy here. He ended up going out with Penny Richmond. That's me. You see my hair's jet black and I'm wearing that Mossimo shirt that Hope Willingham was wearing. There we go. That's in the green room. Oh, fuck, I loved it there. I loved it there. So you can imagine my trauma. Let's use, because I love using these words, don't they, the deadbeats. When I hear all this rubbish and I get it in document form and I'm reading it and it's like, this is bullshit. None of that's true. And the information you have doesn't even relate to me. That you've been given information that relates to a completely different person and I can prove it. And for the last 11 years, I've gone through hell and tried to prove and tried to get my mother to stand up. The only thing my mum's been asked to do is to stand the fuck up and help your son tell the fucking truth. I don't need you carrying on the way you're doing. You were asked to speak to your ex-boss, get me a solicitor, get the truth published, remove false information, and move forward. Not carry on with this bloody bullshit that you have for the last 11 fucking years. You know, you worked in a legal office your entire fucking life. What, you don't have one friggin' barrister on speed dial? Get fucked. Seriously, your son got lied about. Badly lied about. You know? And you're doing nothing, and then everyone's getting dragged into it. No one needed to be dragged into it. All that had to be done was the truth, exactly what I've published earlier on and what I'm publishing now. That's the only thing that had to be done. Was the truth. Because the only thing I asked of my mum for the last 11 years was, can you stop and can you tell the fucking truth? And, of course, Mum in her fine form, I'm not going to unless you. Okay, fuck off, Carol. So you all know what my mum's like. You all should know what my mum's like. By the way, do you remember Nick Simpson Deeks from Oxley? So there's Nick Simpson Deeks. Sally was the dance instructor that ended up going out with Bradley Gill. That's Lloyd. Do you remember Lloyd? Lloyd went to our high school, but he was older than us. Lloyd's about 2 years older. He was at Alathe Rosewood College. That's Rick. Rick went to a different high school, and that's myself. That was the rehearsals for Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. So that's me behind Nick Simpson Deeks. And Sally and I don't know, are they still together? Do you remember the car accident they had? It was all over the news. When Bradley Gill and so they were in that bad car accident, they almost totaled the Saab. Wasn't it? When they in the Saab? And they almost totaled it. It was coming back from, we had like one of the rehearsal parties. Anyway. That's, God, is it Steve John? Do you remember the mayor's son of Tamworth? So, okay. Is that Steve John? Steve John? But that's Justin Pascoe. He was in the same musical. That's Justin Pascoe, who idiots project onto me. That's Justin Pascoe. That's Bradley Gill. That's myself, Justin Fleming. Justin Fleming, Bradley Gill, Justin Pascoe. It's Steve John, isn't it? It was John's. Remember, he was the son of the mayor that demolished that beautiful theatre. And it was like so iconic because the son was right into theatre and theatrics. And they had that beautiful big house up in East Tamworth, and his wife was fabulous. Like, do you remember all the parties? Who used to go with me? I'll tell you who, hang on. Jane. Jane Hilton, whose mum used to own the Mud Box, the record store, the CD store in the Tamworth Arcade. Jane would know. I think Jane went there once with me because I was going up there because they used to have the like biggest parties because I was with all that crowd of people. I tried to get a man to fit it, like, you know, she's like, no, because all your friends are snobs. So, well, I remember one time we're competing in horse riding competition in equestrian, and I walked in on mum's deadbeat sister's kids bitching about Amanda and myself to people that knew Amanda and myself, and they're like, Justin and Amanda are snobs. It's like, I'd rather be snobs than housos. Because they're housos. You know how mum's sister's kids were dragged up? Housos. But they were bitching. That's true. It's not a lie. We're at Katingle. They were bitching about Amanda and myself to Stacey and Mandy McElveen. And they were saying that Justin and Amanda are snobs. So I walked in on Shane and Christy Childs bitching to Mandy and Stacey McElveen about Amanda and myself, saying that we're snobs. That's the fucking truth. Oh, hang on. Where's that photo? There's a photo. Oh, it's in the other photo album. Okay. So the house party, and this is true with Billy Lee Conroy. So we had this wild house party, like a pool party. And so Billy Lee didn't bring any swimmers. I got to find it. Jade was dead. Faith was only a baby. Because she's all stayed overnight. Everyone been drinking and partying and were vomiting the next. Like, okay, I've got to find it because we were legless. But anyway, we had this like fantastic house party. Uncle Richard was there. Everyone was there. The family was there. And Billy Lee was there and she didn't bring her swimmers. And Mum said, oh, Billy, go into my room and get something out. So she goes into Mum's drawers and like Mum's swimmers from like the 80s, which were like a G-string. Do you guys remember? She did. It was talked about all over school. Only Billy Lee Conroy. Hang on, I've got to find the photo. Okay, Mum still has the original. Okay, here we go. So there's me. Hell, oh my God, I'm wearing my Stussy King. I've got that Stussy King shirt that was like $60. My mum like used to chuck hissy fits with all my designer label clothes. Do you remember? Stussy King. There's Amanda Wynn. Is that Kelly Cook actually? No, that's Christy Childs. Amanda Wynn is there. I want the original. I should have another one somewhere. Anyway. There's Tara. Oh, is that Linda Easy? Do you remember Linda Easy because she's so easy? Linda Easy because she's so easy. Remember we used to say that? Darren Sylvester. Stephen Gagey. Stacey McElveen. Billy Lee Conroy. Who's down here? Oh, Mandy McElveen. And there's Moo, my twin. Yeah. Okay, because back in the day when Darren Sylvester and I were really close. So it's Darren Sylvester, which is Stephen Carter's nephew. Used to love it. Stephen Carter's, and you got Alicia Carter. Remember they used to own that massive big property in was it Palermo? They owned that huge estate. They had that massive, oh, I used to love it when I used to go to Darren Sylvester's place before his mother divorced his father. And they had that big homestead, one of those really old homesteads, that big quirky old homestead. I went there and we were watching like freaky, scary movies. I loved it. That massive big homestead, like one of those huge old houses on those big old estates. But then they subdivided all that land. They had that massive big house. Was that Palermo? Was that up past Loomba anyway? That was there. And because Mrs. Sylvester, when she divorced Darren's mum, so Miss Carter, she went back to Carter, she moved back in the east. They had that place in East Tamworth. That was his mum's place. That beautiful place that was done in East Tamworth. And then I think his uncle stayed living at the big property, that like big mansion that Darren's grandparents had. Anyway, that because I used to be always around the Carters and the Sylvesters because I was close to the Carters and Sylvesters. And I don't like people lying about Stephen Carter either because that's my good friend's uncle and he was a lovely man. I think people really make up some bullshit stories. So, I was going with that as well. Oh, that party. Oh, hang on, I've got to find the other photo. There's another photo somewhere of that party. Mum must have the original. Anyway, so Billy Lee Conroy, she comes out at the pool party wearing that like really skimpy bikini. That was mum's. That was hilarious. And like around Richard Everett, it was funny. But only Billy Lee Conroy. She was awesome. One of the best barrel races ever. Anyway, so we used to have all these wild house parties, right? And then there was this time when, who was it? I don't know. It may not have been Amanda Wynn, but someone goes, because back at school, but people that weren't invited to this party were like, do you live in a mansion? I'm like, oh, no, it's just a house. And people are like, yeah, but you've got like a formal living room. I'm like, oh, yeah, you got a formal living room, entertainment room, like games room, pool table, like swimming room. Yeah. Like, because, so we were the rich kids, Carol. So in high school, when they're talking about the rich kids, I didn't bully anyone, but I'm not a rich kid that bullied anyone. We were the rich kids. Mum pulled up with that truck built by Brian Holgate, who used to build all the racing industry trucks. So he built, what's the name? Katrina Beatty's. Katrina Beatty's truck, back when Mr. and Mr. Beatty's were together before Mrs. Beatty's ran off with Mrs. Etheridge's husband, Mr. Etheridge. So Libby Etheridge, who I love Libby Etheridge, and if Libby Etheridge made a mistake and thought that Mark Rackley was our surname, I would forgive her because Libby Etheridge was gorgeous and I adored her growing up. And I felt so sad from her because Mum opened her mouth too much. And I felt really bad. This is the only time I would ever say with my mother's gossiping that I truly felt sorry for my mother. I'm going to leave it at that because I want to make this as a half an hour on. Because what happened was, it was David Ware. I've got a good memory. My memory is photographic. Practically photographic. So David Ware told Libby Etheridge that Carol had told people that Mr. Etheridge has been having an affair with Mrs. Bailey. And Libby cornered Mum, was going to flatten her. And then Mark, my stepfather, Mark Racker, had to go at Mum even. And I thought, and Mum didn't mean that. When Mum was telling people, she wasn't saying it to be derogatory. She was saying it as being a concern. And the only time, because Mum's a bitch. Oh, don't get me wrong. Mum's a fucking bitch. But the only time in my life I'll sit down and go, I felt so sorry for Mum because she was so close to Libby Etheridge. And Mum was saying it as a concern because Mr. Etheridge was screwing around on Katrina Bailey's mum. Oh, everyone knew. Oh my God. Like, hello, it's New England. God almighty. You can't fart without being on detention or putting withdrawal. Yeah, oh my God. Like, yeah, hello. So the Bailey's truck was built. So the Bailey's truck for their thoroughbreds was built by Brian Holgate. Mum had her truck built, and everyone knows Brian Holgate has been like the best and the most expensive truck builder. And then you've got Katrina Bailey's cousin, who they're right into the thoroughbred racing industry, which was Darren Bailey's. Remember Darren Bailey's, who used to work as a bouncer at Domino's nightclub on, was it Bridge Street? But then he also used to deliver LPG gas because he used to come past Mum and do the gas for the heaters at Mum's. Yeah, he was hot. Katrina Bailey's cousin. They're right into the race industry. So Brian Holgate built his trucks as well. His mum pulled up with the truck. It's like, everyone's like, where does Carol get all her money from? Because it's like, oh, now she's driving a truck built from Brian Holgate. It's like, yeah. Haters. Oh my God. Same shit's happened to me. Where does Justin get all his money from? Haters. Much. Mum was a paralegal. God, she didn't stop working ever. You know, she was still like, when she moved from working from in the city, when she was working for Ian Shaw back then, she worked next to, remember Tandy's there on Peel Street, and you go up the stairs and it was Lyons Barnett Kennedy. And back then the receptionist was PK, and then PK married one of the barristers and moved up to East Tamworth, just up the road from where I was living when I was living in Macquarie Gardens. Remember when I had that fabulous apartment when I was 17? Like, I had the most, I'm going to keep putting it because I could keep talking about this, the most amazing decked out apartment. I had a martini bar before I could legally drink martini. It was fucking awesome. That was the biggest, snobbiest private school attitude that anyone could ever have. It's like, no, I need my own apartment. Thanks. And I had my own apartment there in East. In Hill Street in Macquarie Gardens. That was fucking awesome. That apartment was so decked out. I mean, yeah. That was like, it was so 90s. Like the black leather sofas and yeah. Espresso machine, the martini bar. So yeah. That was awesome. But anyway. So again, when I'm getting all this information back since 2015 and I'm reading these dumb fucking notes and I'm looking at all this bullshit and I'm like, but none of this, where did you get it from? Okay. Oh, and okay, pin that. So if you're talking about some fuckwit, like what was that teacher when we first moved? Mr. Ferguson. He hated me. Oh, a deadbeat loser. He was a scrubber. Because he hated me because of Mark Rackley. Because he thought Mark Rackley was my dad and wouldn't accept the fact that he's not my dad. That deadbeat. Or Mr. Cummings. Sorry. That's right. Two people I was bullied by weren't kids, weren't my peers. They were grown men. Grown men bullied a 10-year-old. There we go. Mr. Cummings and Mr. Ferguson. Okay? Bullied a 10-year-old. There you go. Two fuckwit men. There you go. So if you want to do the bullying thing, yeah, but that was men, not my own peers. Thanks. And who else was there? Okay, Mr. Tryon was my commerce teacher, and he did punch me. But, I mean, school discipline in those days is very different to now. I mean, yeah, teachers punched you. I mean, I grew up when the cane was in primary school. People got flogged with a cane. I don't see it as being like now. It's like, oh my god, physical violence. It's like, oh god, get a grip on reality. Yeah, Mr. Tryon punched me. He also punched Matt McElveen. Do you remember? He got like Matt McElveen got like punched bad by Mr. Tryon. Mr. Tryon used to have these psycho fits and start yelling and screaming and smashing things. But then we used to call him sheep fucker because he's from New Zealand. Remember he had the goatee? He was our commerce teacher, and he would start going off and start yelling and screaming and throwing tables and like getting the shits with the kids. So he used to go, bah, sheep fucker. Yeah. That's a private school. What do you expect? You get a bit of discipline. Doesn't hurt you. Same with when we got the cane. Bring the cane back. The cane never hurt anybody. You know, it might teach some of these friggin' sensitive idiots. Like, Jesus Christ, the cane never fucking hurt anybody. I don't know why they ever stopped the cane. Anyway, so yeah, he did, but I got along still well with Mr. Tryon. He had the shits and he punched me. Amanda was actually in the room next door to me. We were down in my homeroom class because Amanda was in my actually homeroom class where I would normally have homeroom, and I was in my commerce room, and she heard it and she came out. I was standing outside. She heard him punch me, and she was concerned because Amanda's a sweetheart. She's concerned. I was like, oh, I don't care, you know. I'm outside. Yeah, I got sent out. He punched me. But he also punched Matt McElveen. I remember when he punched Matt McElveen. So, yeah. He just used to go off. He was one of those schizo teachers that used to go off all the time and take it on kids. These days, he'd be jailed for it. But in our day, and no one cared. It's like, I ran into Peter Tryon like years later. I'm having a chat with him. I think he's a great guy and he was a great teacher. He was a fantastic commerce teacher. Did that affect me? No. Do I think that society today is just a little bit oversensitive? I think you guys are insanely oversensitive. I think there's something wrong with you. Because in my day, that was acceptable. It's okay. I think you guys have major issues. I think the society of today has fucking major issues and I can't stand it. Okay? Because I don't see anything wrong with that. Okay? It didn't go any overboard. It was... Okay. I think people today are just really... way oversensitive and reading too much into everything. So, yeah. But, yeah. And I did run into Peter Tryon years later as well. And who else did we run into? Actually, Amanda and myself were at the Bauhaus Museum in Sydney once. We run into one of the maths teachers or science teachers. Anyway. So, yeah. That's it. I mean, that's life. And if people are so concerned about the bullying. See, it is when, you had no friends in high school. I'm like, I had friends, but who you've described as Justin Pascoe. And I can say this back in 1995. So this must have been all the trouble the Abo started. In 1995, I started getting contacted with people saying, you had a brother at your school. But stupid me, I give too much information back. And I'm there going, no, my stepbrother didn't go to my school. See? So then instantly they're still tagging me in with this person going, yeah, he did. I'm like, no, my stepbrother didn't. See? And then it's like, you did this, this, and this. I'm like, I did do those subjects, but I never had blonde hair. And because this was going on. So they're talking about Justin Pascoe and his older brother who was at the school. I never sung Phantom of the Opera at school. I never did Justin Pascoe bring a gun to school for one of the school assemblies? Like, he brought a gun to school. Remember, it was part of he was obsessed with army and the military. He was in the cadets because he never had a school uniform. He's like, okay, we all had school uniforms. like immaculately dressed, shirt, ties, long sleeve shirts, even in summer, socks pulled up, those pants with the pleats. Remember, it was so pedantic. This guy walked around with army boots, camouflage clothes. Do you remember? And was like, and we were told not to say anything, don't tease him. Remember, we got talked in our homeroom class. Mr. Robbins said, look, if you see him in the corridors, you know, they can't afford a uniform. Don't say anything, don't tease him. I was like, this guy's weird. Like, we're all in the proper uniform and he's just walking around like this drongo. He was a weirdo. Justin Pascoe. Like, and he was from a really poor povo family. Like a really poor family. And that pizza party. Remember, like he was putting, was it in 92 or 93? He put those flyers around everywhere about some pizza party. I don't know if anyone turned up. I mean, yeah. Like he was inviting everyone. No one turned up. It was a bit of a weirdo. And he had bad hygiene. But he was the Mousy Brown guy that was also in Joseph and Pirates of Penzance and other musicals that I know exactly who these people talked about because the description was Justin Pascoe. Exactly Justin Pascoe. Like, yeah, but you described Justin Pascoe. And I'm not born and raised in Tamworth. Mum moved there when I was 10 and I lived there for 6 years and moved back home to Sydney, but we lived in between Sydney and Tamworth because Mum moved there. All our family was still in Sydney and in the inner city. And every person who knew me at LA Rosary Cottage knew this. So here's the other thing when I know that people who don't know me, because two things. If you're in my homeroom class, every week after competition, Mr. Robinson used to read out all the competitions that Amanda and myself have been in. Mr. Robinson was so nice. Mr. Robinson was also from Blacktown, from the suburbs of Sydney. So my homeroom teacher. And we had, so for history, we did Bungarabie House. So if you were in Mr. Robinson's history class with me, I think it was in 1993, we did the history on Bungarabie House from Blacktown. And we did that because both myself is from the suburbs of Sydney originally and Mr. Robinson. And the architect design of Bungarabie House, how it was a complete round circle, and it was an architectural marvel of the day when they built this house in the suburbs of Sydney, and it was that the sort of top story and the bottom story ballroom was a complete round circle. So we did that in history, Bungarabie House in Blacktown, for this reason. So everybody knew that I was from Sydney. And everybody knew that weekends that I wasn't in Tamworth, I was back home in Sydney. And people knew that I went to Leichhardt to visit my great-grandmother, Mary. People who actually knew me and had conversations with me. People who were in that group when we went around the inner city together knew. Because I don't stop talking about Lola, Big Nan, Uncle Fred. Those people knew. Okay, or if they crossed wires and there's so many stories and we've got it all confused, yeah, but you still knew I was from Sydney. You still knew that every single holiday except for October I was back home in Sydney, and you still knew that every weekend I didn't have sports on. During winter I was back home in Sydney. You still knew this because we spoke about it. Be like, oh, what'd you do? Oh, I was here. Well, I went to the art gallery, was over in Manly. Like when we came back that time when I was 14 and I was supposed to come back to school with leather pants. Do you remember that? So everybody remembers. So I tell you exactly what happened. We're watching something and it was back when I was doing Rocker Steppers and whatever. And my Christmas money, I said, I'm getting a pair of leather pants. We're in Sydney. We're up Oxford Street. I'm about 14 years of age. I'm up Oxford Street with Mum and Uncle Fred and Amanda. And Mum says, you're not spending $300 on a pair of leather pants, so you're only going to wear once. Okay, so I didn't come home with the leather pants that I wanted. So then we're off to the art gallery and then we're off to Manly and I'm sulking because Mum wouldn't let me buy a pair of leather pants. Okay, so I was up Oxford Street with my mother and my great uncle looking for leather pants so I could wear to school for the school social. So I didn't, but I had all these other fabulous outfits anyway. In actual fact, it was the time that this outfit was purchased in here. So I went with my oversized fashion look back in those days. This is me. Where is it? I've just gone past it. I just went past it. Where is it? Oh yeah, I've got a photographic memory. That's me. So Mum will remember it was this same time. It was that same time. That's me holding the trophy that I've got somewhere with the horsehead trophy. That's me. So remember all my baseball, used to wear a lot of baseball oversized shirts. It's one of my baseball oversized shirts. So I have baseball shirts, baseball caps. I always wore baseball shirts and baseball caps. So in the last 11 years, I've got organisations making up stories of, oh, so have you personality changed? I'm like, no, You're just making up stories. The information you've got about me is wrong. I've always been stylish, always wearing designer labels. I've always been interested in jazz, and I've always been interested like in symphony orchestra and classical music. Those musics are different to my genre of the age I grew up in. The age I grew up in of being the 80s. So I'm always interested in the 80s. I grew up in the 80s, 90s, and of course modern music now. Anything different to the music that I grew up in is the jazz and classical music. Okay, but I've always been interested in that. Same subjects throughout my entire life has always been involved in art, design, anything involved in that. So whether it was after school activities of modeling, art, painting of the mural at Tamworth Library, downtown interiors, interior decoration, working for John Trelaw's Menswear, which was visual merchandising and styling, arts and media at the Tamworth TAFE. Also used to work every single school holiday with Pop, Reginald George Purdy, just Ford Street off Sunny Holt Road there for John Smiles, a family friend, and I used to wire up. So that's where I got into, I guess, of maintenance. So Pop, my grandfather, used to rewire boats for John, and he taught me how to do it. And that's where I started doing maintenance and stuff. But I was a little kid. I was a kid getting paid on holidays working with my grandfather. Okay, so my grandfather was very much a handyman maintenance guy. Reg. Okay, so everything's the same. Throughout my entire life, there is no change. There is soccer growing up. My interest is soccer. Not football, not rugby league. Soccer. I grew up playing soccer. My dad grew up playing baseball, went deep sea scuba diving. My other sport is equestrian riding. This is all facts. Everything I've stated and what organisations has projected into my life in the last 11 years is just wrong. It's completely inaccurate and not true. And it's pushing their narrative and agenda that doesn't match any facts. The fact that I've always been stylish and wore ghetto got a lot of gold jewelry. You can see this throughout the photos. You can see photos of myself when I'm traveling around America in January and February 2001, and I'm wearing Versace, Dolce & Gabbana, Armani, and a shitload of gold jewelry. I come from the suburbs. I look like I come from the fucking suburbs. I look like a typical person from Parramatta. Okay, that's what I look like. Okay, but I had different dynamics because I was lucky enough to have land in Sydney, to have family in the inner city, and then to have moved to New England and have a different lifestyle for New England. So I was lucky to experience what I've experienced. I've done more with my life before I was 22 than I've met people in their 60s have done. So I was very grateful of what I got to experience in New England. Extremely grateful because it was a very different class of people. And I loved it. It was very me. And the stylish part of New England, I guess what people forget is that it is stylish. It isn't just cowboys and like what people think, it's not farmers. You have, luxury. You have luxury cars, you've got high performance cars, you've got luxury designer labels. You have some of the richest people in like Australia live in those areas. Okay, and they have luxury items, it's where they get it from. It's all the local businesses. It was amazing. It was like living, and when I've traveled up since I moved back to Sydney, I would take people there. And I'll be like, oh, come on, Mum, let's go here. She goes, oh, I'm like, let's do it because you get to do it all the time. I don't get to. So I'll go to Mum's and be like, oh, come on, let's go to Nundle. Oh, come on, let's go to the winery up near Bendemeer. Because you're here. I would travel up for weekend getaways to the area, be like, come on, because it's winter, let's go to that winery where they have the emu oil and they're like, it snows on the mountains, which is like half an hour from my mum's house is this beautiful winery. Let's do this. Let's go to the ski gardens at Lake Keepit. Because for me, this was like, oh my God, this is so wow. This is, oh my God, because I'm like living in Sydney. It's like, oh God, I'm going back to the ghetto. Sydney is so shit. But you go up there and it's so sleek. It's so chic. It's so, beautiful. It's like when people think what old school English money is. There you go. It's like old school English money. It's like Land Rovers and, Wellingtons and like it's great. It's, Land Rovers, Mercedes, BMWs. It's like, oh my God, when I was getting my license, Mum wouldn't let me have the car that other people were having, which was high performance. Mum, I had to have a car to practice on, but all my friends were driving BMWs. My God, Mum sent me across to a neighbour's house, which was Michael Bligh. Michael Bligh's grandparents owned a big chunk of North Sydney. Because remember, rich people in New England own a lot of Sydney. Who do you think owns Sydney, you dickheads? Not people that are povo plebs in Sydney. So, Michael Bligh's son is about a year or two older than me. So we're both getting our license at the same time. Mum said, well, Michael's got connections. Go ask him where he's getting his son's car from. So I did. I went across and said to Michael about that. And Michael said he's getting his son a BMW. So I went back home and told Mum. So they had BMWs. Mum's neighbour had BMWs. I went back home and Mum's like, you're not getting a BMW. I'm like, I had to get what Mum told me to get to train on. And it was always, once you're 21, Justin, get whatever you want. But before you're 21, your premium's going to be high and you're going to be like, a radar for police, and it's meant for you to practice on to ding up, to get, get scratches on it. You don't want something that's expensive. Meanwhile, Ben done up the road's got a BMW. Morby's got Mercedes and Land Rovers. Christ, even Natasha and Tatiana's second had the gold Mercedes. What did I have? I had to get what Mum said until I was 21. Yeah. And that's true. So I grew up with rich people all around me. Coming back home to Sydney was like just a kick in the teeth. It was like, oh, God. And I did it because I wanted a career. A career? The only reason was to enhance the career further in where I was heading, which was the casino industry, and then move to the States. So, yeah. I don't need to now. I'll move to East Tamworth, thanks. I don't really like being too far away from the ocean or the beach. But, yeah, I'll move to East Tamworth. Why would I? I've got the art gallery down the road. I love it. I've got the art gallery. Is the Gorgeous Grub still open? The Gorgeous Grub used to buy all the maganettas, like the coffee pots for the stovetop coffee. See, that's how long since I've been there. I know it's like 30 years, so it probably doesn't exist, does it, the Gorgeous Grub? Does Westworld Gallery still exist? Tell me Westworld Gallery still exists. Oh. And you've got the theatre. And you've got all the shows that are in Sydney that go up there. In summertime, you can go to the ski gardens. Okay, don't have the saltwater ocean, but you've got the ski gardens. The water skiing. Okay. There's that. You've got polo. I mean, I'm too old to join polo now. I was always going to join the polo team in Wollabadar. See, when I retired from... I'm going to leave that there. This is not supposed to be an hour one. It is. It's supposed to be a half-hour one. See, when I retired from professional show writing, my whole goal was, because I really loved playing polo every October. Well, that was Polo Cross. But my whole goal was to join the polo team in Wollabadar. So you know how where you got the racing in Wollabadar? They had that polo... Is that still there? Maybe it doesn't even exist anymore. I don't know. But Wollabadar used to do polo. And we used to do... Because I've gone there with Mum when Mum and I were really close. And Mum still used to dress up for like races and things and all her fabulous hats. And we're sitting there, having champagne. I've gone to the races there with Mum and they had the polo at the same time. At Wollabadar. Remember, Mum? Well, anyway, if Mum sees this, remember, Carol, when we used to go to the races in Wollabadar and Tamworth? And in Wollabadar, it was at the same time, or was a weekend apart or something. They had the races one week and then the polo the other. And I can tell you what I was wearing, because I used to have some fabulous, like, really sort of like country, it was like country road type suits then, like that real sort of like, racing industry. I used to wear that gold tie that had the sort of like little sort of bits on it as well, because of the 90s look. Yeah. See, going and having a life and a lifestyle, living around decent people that are like-minded to me, compared to living around where I currently am, and I could not ever put up with these people. I mean, it's one thing to see low-life scumbags out, but I can't do it. I'm not raised around it. Mum's a bit different, and her sisters are probably a bit different because of who they've always affiliated with. But Amanda and I, okay, maybe we are snobs, but Big Nam was a snob and Uncle Fred was a snob. I can't do it, and I'm too old to do it. I used to exercise so much tolerance when I worked at Star Casino. I exercised tolerance when I was younger, and I'm like, yeah, but I'm too old for it now. I've done this. I'm not interested in exercising tolerance. I've done it. Okay, and that's the thing. So, but I've already been looking. I asked Mum so many times, can you help me move to Tamworth? Can you help me move? Can you please help me move? I found a place in East Tamworth. Can you help me move? Can you help me move? Can you help me move? And she didn't. She didn't even show up when I came back from America. So anyway.